Today's top story is that of the continuing kitten wars. After finding their base, nothing more than exploded fur was found everywhere. Our brave troops who went in to gather intelligence never had a chance. It was an ambush. It was an ambush. Please help out our military by buying war bonds at your nearest TV and radio stations. Greetings and welcome back to Checkpoint Gaming, Exploding Kittens. With this episode, we will be going over variants. With the two-player edition, it is different than that of the two-player version addressed in the previous episode. It consists of 32 cards, with one card being that of an exploding kitten. Gameplay consists of putting the deck face down in the center of the table and taking turns drawing cards until someone draws the exploding kitten. Once a player draws the exploding kitten, they explode and is eliminated from the game. Regarding all other cards, they're used to help avoid this outcome by reducing the chance of exploding. When it comes to that of setting up for the game, there are a few steps that are to be followed. First, remove all of the exploding kittens and defuse cards from the deck. Second, shuffle the remaining cards and deal out 7 cards to each player, face down. Third, deal out 1 diffuse card to each player, which is to be added to their hand. Each player is to keep their hand secret for the duration of the game. Regarding diffuse cards, they're the only cards that are able to save a player from an exploding kitten, and if it is played after a player draws an exploding kitten, the kitten is to be placed back into the draw pile anywhere the player desires instead of seeing the kitten explode. So with that said, it is a good idea to try and get as many diffuse cards as possible. Fourth, return the exploding kitten and extra diffuse cards into the deck. Fifth, shuffle the deck and put it into the middle of the table, face down, with enough space available for a discard pile. With this deck, it represents the game's draw pile. And sixth, pick a player to go first, using any method desired to select this player. When it comes to taking turns, the player will perform the following actions. This begins with the player deciding if they want to either play a card or to pass. If they decide to play, they are to place 1 card from their hand face up atop of the discard pile and follow the instructions that are found upon it. It is worth noting that there are some cards that don't possess any instructions printed upon them. With these particular cards, they will have to be collected and played as pairs. When played, said player will be able to pick another player and randomly steal one of the cards from their hand. After following the instructions that are found upon a card or the playing of a pair of cards, the player will be able to play any additional cards they wish, with a player playing as many cards as they like. But if the player decides to pass, then no more cards are to be played. The player will then end their turn by drawing a card from the top of the draw pile and place it into their hand, hoping that they won't draw an exploding kitten. Play will then continue in a clockwise direction. During play, players are allowed to count the cards that are remaining within the draw pile, and since the draw pile will never run out of cards, there will never be any need to reshuffle the discard pile. There is also no minimum or maximum hand size a player is able to possess. But if a player ever finds themselves running out of cards from their hand, then no special action is to be taken. Play will just continue with the player drawing at least a single card during their next turn. With the basic rules taken care of, let's take a look at the cards that are found within the game. First, we have the game's namesake, the exploding kitten. Once drawing this card, the player will have to immediately reveal it, and unless the player possesses a diffuse card to counter it, said player explodes, thus causing them to discard their hand along with the exploding kitten. Second, we have the diffuse card. If a player draws an exploding kitten and they have a diffuse card in their hand, they can play it to counter the exploding kitten, which will prevent the player from being eliminated. From there, they will secretly place the exploding kitten back into the draw pile anywhere they wish, without either reordering or viewing the other cards. The player can even choose to hold the draw pile underneath the table so that the other players will be unable to see where they placed it. From there, the next player will go unless the initial player is to perform multiple turns. Third, we have the attack card. What this card will do is to end the turn of the player who plays it without them drawing a card and will force the next player to take 2 turns in a row. What this means is that the target of this card will take their turn as normal, followed by them taking another turn once their first turn comes to an end. But if the target of an attack card also plays that attack card, then their turn will immediately come to an end, with the next player taking 2 consecutive turns. Fourth, we have the favor card. When played, it will force any other player to hand over 1 card of their choice from their hand to the player who played this card. Fifth, we have the nope card. When played, it will prevent any action from being performed unless the action is an exploding kitten or diffuse card, thus causing it to have no effect. And this applies to any card, pair of cards, or special combo. It is even possible for a nope card to cancel out another nope, thus creating a yup. A nope card can be played at any time before an action begins, even if it's not the player's turn. Sixth, we have See the Future. When playing this card, it allows the player to look at the top 3 cards of the draw pile without showing the other players. Once done looking at them, place the cards back atop of the draw pile in their initial order. Seventh, we have Shuffle. When played, the draw pile is to be thoroughly shuffled without the player viewing the cards. Eighth, we have Skip. When played, the player will immediately end their turn without drawing a card. And ninth, we have the cat cards. With the specific cat cards, they were addressed in the previous episode. Although each of these cards are powerless on their own, they can be played in pairs or special combos. With special combos, they are used for advanced play and consists of any group of cards that are played at the same time. When playing Two of a Kind, it allows for the stealing of a random card from another player, and it no longer applies to only cards that are without instructions. Instead, it extends to any cards that are found in the deck that possess the same title and ignores the instructions that are found upon the cards found in the combo. When playing Three of a Kind, it works the same as a Two of a Kind, but the player will get to name the card they want to obtain from the other player instead of taking one at random. If the target player possesses it, then the attacking player will get to take it. If not, then the attacking player will get nothing. With the Cat Burglar edition, it consists of 56 cards, is played with 2 to 5 players, and has some exploding kittens found within the deck. Gameplay consists of what was described earlier, but with the following exceptions, and comes with a foam cat burglar. Regarding the exploding kittens, place enough into the deck that is equal to the number of players found in the game -1. When it comes to that of any extra exploding kittens, they are removed from the game. With the cat burglar, place it onto the table in front of the player found to the right of the first player. With the cat burglar, if it is found in front of a player, on their turn, they can pick a target and ask them for any cat card. If the target player possesses it, then the attacking player will get to take it. If not, then the attacking player will get nothing. But regardless of the situation, the cat burglar is to be placed in front of the target player. Once that has been completed, play will continue as normal. It is worth noting that on the cat burglar's turn, they can either use it or save it with the nope card not affecting the use of the cat burglar. And if the player that possesses the cat burglar explodes, then the cat burglar is removed from the game. With the cards that are found within the game, they are the same as those addressed earlier, but with different quantities. But as a quick overview, they are as follows: Exploding Kitten, Diffuse, Attack, Favor, Nope, See the Future, Shuffle, and Skip. When it comes to that of See the Future, it extends to the top 3 cards of the draw pile. With the Exploding Minions edition, it consists of 72 cards, is played with 2 to 5 players, and has some exploding minions found within the deck. The major change to this variant is that the exploding kittens have been replaced with exploding minions. When it comes to that of setting up the game, there are a few steps that are to be followed. They start by removing all of the exploding minions and diffuse cards from the deck. If playing a 2-player game, only use the cards that possess the Grutech symbol found in the corner with all of the other cards being removed. If playing a 3-player game, only use the cards that don't possess the Grutech symbol found in the corner with all of the other cards being removed. If playing a 4 to 5-player game, use all of the cards. From there, follow the steps as described earlier. With the cards that are found within the game, they are a combination of those that were addressed earlier as well as some edition-specific cards. Regarding those that were addressed earlier, we'll skip addressing them here and just focus upon the edition-specific cards. First, we have the Clone card. When played, it goes onto the discard pile and becomes whatever card is found beneath it, as well as adopting the rules found upon that card. But with that said, it can't be played atop of another clone card. For example, it can be used to copy a diffuse card to counteract the drawing of an exploding minion. The clone card can also be used with a minion character card in order to form a pair and steal a card as long as that minion character card was not played by another player. It has to come from the player's hand. And since it's part of a pair, it will have to be played with the minion character card. Second, we have draw from the bottom. At the end of the player's turn, it will allow them to draw a card from the bottom of the draw pile. Third, we have see the future. When playing this card, it allows the player to look at the top 3 cards of the draw pile without showing the other players. Once done, they're to be placed back atop of the draw pile in the same order. Finally, we have the Exploding Kittens edition, which is the version of the game that is played over video chat using any copy of the game. Although this edition came out during the COVID-19 pandemic that essentially pumped the brakes on the world for at least 2 years, it can be played when there isn't a global lockdown in place and people just want to play the game through video chat. And just like any other version of the game, players are to avoid drawing an exploding kitten. When it comes to that of setting up for the game, there are a few steps that are to be followed. First, have everyone connect through a video sharing website. Second, decide which iteration of the game everyone will be playing with each player, creating a deck that consists of the following: 1. Exploding Kitten, 2. Defuse cards, 2. Favor cards, 2. Nope cards, 3. See the Future cards, 2. Shuffle cards, and 2. Skip cards. Third, remove all of the Exploding Kittens and Diffuse cards from the deck. Fourth, shuffle the remaining cards and deal out 7 cards to each player, face down. Fifth, remove the top 4 cards from the deck without looking at them and place them off to one side for they're not to be used during the game. Sixth, deal out the next 4 cards, face down, and add the diffuse card to this set. These cards are to remain secret. Seventh, place the Exploding Kitten into the deck and shuffle it. From there, create the draw grid, which sees 6 cards placed face down in front of the player in a 2x3 grid pattern and is visible to each of the other players. Also, make sure that there's enough space for a discard pile. Eighth, the order of play is arranged in alphabetical order, with each player being responsible for remembering who comes after them. If playing with a large group of players, have each player call out the name of the person who will come after them before play begins. And ninth, pick a player to go first, using any method desired to select this player. When it comes to that of playing the game, do so as normal, but with the following modifications. First, the player will draw a card from their respective draw grid based upon the instructions made by the previous player, such as top row on your left or third from your right on the bottom row. And when a player ends their turn, they will instruct the next player which card they are to draw. Second, the player will be able to play as many cards as they want, and when they end their turn, they will select the card from the draw grid that they were instructed to draw. Third, in order to track which cards have been drawn, place an object upon said card, thus causing the draw grid to become smaller and smaller. Fourth, when a player plays a card, they will hold it up in front of the camera so that all of the other players are able to see it. Due to possible slow internet connections, each player is given time so that they can play a nope card if they so desire. And just like a regular game of Exploding Kittens, players are unable to play a card after they draw one, for it will end their turn. In addition to this, the playing of pairs, 3 of a kind, or 5 different cards are not a part of this version of the game. With these rules taken care of, let's take a look at the cards that are found within the game, which are pretty much the same as base play, but with the following modifications. With the Exploding Kitten, after immediately showing it to the other players, the player will get eliminated and is out of the game unless they possess a defuse card to cancel it out. With the defuse cards, they are played to counter the Exploding Kitten. Once played, the Exploding Kitten is to be placed anywhere upon the player's draw grid, face down, with the player having the option of rearranging all of the cards but not looking at them when doing so. The player can do this under the table or by blocking the webcam so that the other players will be unable to see where the Exploding Kitten has been placed. With the favor cards, the player will select another player to turn over one of their draw grid cards, with the attacking player deciding which card is to be flipped. They can be instructed to draw a face-up card, but if the face-up card is a shuffle or diffuse card, then it is to be turned face down. With the nope cards, it will prevent any action from being performed unless the action is an exploding kitten, a diffuse card, or the instruction from another player regarding which card to draw. A player can even play a nope to cancel out another nope, thus creating a yup. A nope card is able to be played any time before an action has begun, even if it's another player's turn. Any cards that are subject to a nope are lost and are left in the discard pile of the respective player. With the See the Future cards, it allows the player to secretly view any one card found in their draw grid, followed by putting it back in its original position. With the Shuffle cards, it will cause the player's draw grid to be thoroughly shuffled, followed by asking for a new instruction for which card is to be drawn. With the Skip cards, it will immediately end the target's turn without them drawing a card. With the win and lose conditions, they are the same as that of regular play, with a player who drew an exploding kitten without being able to defuse it, getting eliminated with the last person standing being deemed the winner. With the player that blew up, they're to inform the player just before them who the new next player is so that they can inform them which card they are to draw once their turn arrives. So with that said, that is what you need to know about the variants of Exploding Kittens. With that taken care of, we can start talking about the standalone versions of the game. If you liked this episode, feel free to give it a like, and if you want to stay up to date on any future episodes we upload, go ahead and subscribe. You can also support us on Patreon for as little as $1 a month at patreon.com/checkpointgaming. See you in the next episode, and happy gaming.